Welcome to Region 6 TV. I'm Kent Connaughton, your regional forester. We're now in the first month of the brand new calendar year, and I want you to know, as we've just completed a comprehensive roll-up of how things went in terms of performance across the national forests in Oregon and Washington, and you've done a splendid job. I want you to know is without regard to any of the specific programs, is program after program the performance last year, given all the fire season demands that were on top of you, given all of the distractions in one way or another procedurally and bureaucratically that we put with you, is that you've done extremely well. I think you're well positioned for this calendar year as well. I know that there are distractions. One has to do with the number of vacancies that exist in our organization and the shift in our HR procedures. Both of those things, I believe that you will be able to both endure and ultimately prosper. So I expect that there will be more people working for us at the end of the year, and that our capacity will increase and that we'll be better at some of those procedures. I also know that there are issues that are occurring that are way above our scale, but that could logically affect us. I want to discourage you from being unduly apprehensive or skeptical about what effects might be had. Instead, as I encourage you to lean into this year, to take your work very seriously, and essentially is to get after it right away. And it's not because of my concern so much about what's occurring in Washington, D.C., but instead about the forecast for the upcoming fire season. That forecast shows that there is a reasonable likelihood that we could have a fire season exceeding last year's, sometimes by a lot, and perhaps by only a small amount, but certainly as big as what we had last year in the United States, and potentially an awful lot larger. That could get in the way of doing your work as you had originally intended. Also, it poses a safety hazard. The more exposure there is to firefighting conditions, the more likely we are is to have some kind of a catastrophe. To be vigilant and also as to be prepared is in fact the key for coming through this year successfully. Some of you will, as a consequence of the importance of where you're working, the Malheur Forest is an example of that, and the Colville Forest, there will be some folks that we're going to ask is that they tend to their business instead of taking fire assignments this year. It's a small proportion of the workforce, but if we don't do things like that, if we don't make those adjustments, it's quite possible that those communities could suffer far more severely economically and socially than would be the case if either there were a wildfire that affects their community. So I want to ask you to take those things into account. Remember, safety on the day-to-day job is no one goes out to get hurt, but for all of us to be very vigilant and to confer with one another about the exposures that we face, and to be very diligent in going about protecting one another's lives. Communication, open and honest with one another, regardless of the position that you occupy in the Forest Service. You have a voice. The expectation is that you will speak out. Safety is very much on my mind, and that's your safety, my safety, and all employees and all people that we connect with. Thanks very much for joining me today.